What's going on, guys? Today we're going to take a close look at the Artlii Energon 2 Full HD projector. We'll cover how this thing performs, if I think it's worth your guys' money, as well as what are some of the cool features that this device actually has. So let's take a look at this in close depth in today's video after a word from today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by GVGMall.com. GVG Mall carries a wide variety of game currencies and gift cards that you could use to take your gaming to the next level. If you're looking for a fresh copy of Windows or Microsoft Office, then you can certainly find those on GVGMall.com as well. They are priced very competitively and offer legit copies of Microsoft software. You can pick up a copy of Windows 10 Pro for under 15 bucks. Visit GVGMall.com for more information and use code TSB to save during checkout. So welcome back, folks. So here is the Artlii Energon 2. Now this is classified as a budget full HD projector. However, I would like to point out that this is a native 1080p projector, which means you're not going to be doing any upscaling such as some of the other projectors that I may have reviewed on this channel where they're 720p or 480p resolution. This guy touts a full HD resolution, and throughout my testing, it holds that really well. So there's no complaints with the resolution and the clarity of the actual projector. So before we dive into some more sequences of how it actually looks and the performance of it, let's cover what you actually get inside the package and how this thing has different ports and all the different functionalities basically of this device. Inside the package, you get a carrying case, which is really neat to take your projector anywhere you're going if you're going to be traveling or maybe using it outdoors. You get a remote control that does not come with two AAA batteries, so make sure you have that on hand. You get an AV cable so you can hook up some of your old school devices that use the red, white, and yellow cable connection. It comes with an HDMI cable as well as an instruction manual. So those are all the main things that come with it, and of course a power cable to get you going once you hook this thing up. Now on the back of the projector, you have access to a couple of ports. You have an access to VGA port, two HDMI ports, a 5-volt out USB port, as well as a standard USB port, an AV port, a headphone jack, a micro SD card slot, as well as the IR sensor. Now there's also a button there to turn on the power, as well as a keystone adjustment knob. Looking at the top of the unit, you have a touch panel navigational control to access the UI of the projector once it's running, if it's at your hand's length, and you also have access to the focus adjuster on top of the projector. Now underneath the projector is actually what's kind of cool considering the price range of this projector. You actually have points to mount it, and you even have a little adjustable stand that you can use with this projector to tilt it up. Now one thing I will say and keep in mind is during my testing of this, if you adjust the keystone too much at an angle, you'll start to see some distortion of the picture on the outer edges. Now this is very typical with a lot of these budget projectors. If you go for some of the high-end $600+ projectors from BenQ or ViewSonic as an example, or even Optima, you may not see that issue as much, but with some of the budget ones that are using LCD instead of LED technology, you're going to notice that quite a bit. So my recommendation is however you guys decide to set this up, try and keep it as level as possible with the screen that you're going to be using. That way you don't have those blurry edges and don't have to adjust your keystone too much, and you can avoid that altogether. So let's talk about performance on this guy. So real quick, just a couple of things I want to tell you guys about this is that you can project up to 300 inches. However, the recommended projection size of this is about 75 inches. Now I know that doesn't seem like a whole lot. However, in my testing, I used it up to a 100-inch screen and I didn't notice any major defects or distortion. So really use that up to whatever makes sense for you guys per se. So with that out of the way, the performance of this guy was phenomenal. And I'm not just saying that because Artlii, shout out to Artlii for sending this over for review. This is actually a very, very good budget projector. I've only seldom used, a few 1080p projectors that are native that can tout how good and clear the image looks on this. And a lot of it has to do with the amount of lumens that's available inside this unit. So it puts out a pretty bright picture. It may not be as bright as some of the other projectors that I've reviewed in the past. However, generally speaking, whenever you want to set up a projector in a room, make sure it's in a darker environment. Don't have too many lights because it's just going to ruin the experience, and your screen's not going to look as great. So with that out of the way, performance-wise, watching movies on this was absolutely splendid. There was no noticeable artifacting, no noticeable problems. Things showed up clear, even around the edges, as long as you kept your keystone adjusted correctly. And colors popped quite a bit. So that was one thing I was pretty impressed with. Watching animated movies, for example, had really good representation of the color palette. Now you can go into the settings of Artlii and tweak some of those things, so just so you have the color adjusted the way you want. And I noticed that the onboard vivid setting seemed to do really well. Now, moving from how this performs in movies and animated stuff, it does a pretty solid job in gaming performance as well. So a huge disclaimer out there, guys, no projector except for a few that are intended for gaming applications will give you really low latency when it comes to gaming. So keep that in mind while you play first-person shooters. But for casual games, this is fantastic. You know, in my testing, I did happen to use Modern Warfare with it, and it wasn't horrible at all. It actually was pretty responsive, but I would prefer to use, you know, on our TV instead versus playing Call of Duty on a projector like this, where the slightest input lag or slightest latency can, you know, make or break a game for you. So keeping that in mind, this is an all-around very solid projector for that. Now, a couple other features on this that are really cool is I like the fact that there's a 5-volt out USB port on this. This lets you hook up a Roku or even hook up a wireless projector, you know, a powered projector screen that you can use with this to trigger it to come up and down. So it gives all that amount of power that you need to power, you know, any HDMI plugged in devices to this, or even that screen for that matter. Another cool thing about this that I like is that you can actually mirror your phone. So it has wireless mirrorcast in here. You can hook up your phone, be it an iPhone or an Android or whatever you want to use, and you can essentially share your screen through the projector. So this makes it great if you're, you know, at an event, or if you're at home and you want to just show your pictures or your family videos or whatnot to your friends, or you just want to see what you're doing on your phone, be it YouTube or whatever, on a bigger screen. You can use this to do that, and it actually works very well, and it's pretty easy to set up in addition to that. Now, there's speakers included inside this, and the cool thing is you can actually use the Bluetooth capability inside the Artlii to connect and play music. Now, I wouldn't advise that you play games through Bluetooth on this, or like the Bluetooth audio through it, because there will be a latency in that, and they don't have the correct profiles included inside the Bluetooth of this. But however, for music playback, it's fantastic. Now, you might be thinking, well, how great is the speaker? And on all honesty, it is generally decent. And I won't go out on a limb and say it's as great as some of the other projectors I've reviewed, but it does a good job at filling up the room and even getting rid of its fan noise. Now, that's a great segue to the fan noise, and you guys might be curious, how much noise does this fan actually make? Now, I tested it with a decibel meter, and I got under 30 decibels of noise at full blast, and it wasn't putting off too much heat. It's one of the benefits of the fan that they used in it. And they even included a little port at the back where you can take out a clip and service the little filter that's inside there if it starts to get dusty. That way it stays more efficient and it doesn't make too much noise if it's not getting clogged. So overall, guys, with my hands-on experience with the Artlii Energon 2, I'm pretty impressed at the price point that they're selling this for, and at, you know, considering all the capabilities you get, the build quality of it, I may say, is very nice as well. It's not a bad deal at all, you know, and there's a ton of options out there when you look at budget 1080p projectors. I would say this is one of the really, really good ones that you could buy, and if you do end up picking this up, you're not going to have any real major regrets. The only thing I'll repeat, just to be mindful of, is wherever you decide to mount it or put it on a tabletop, try and keep it as level as you can with the screen to get the best optimal picture. Otherwise, as I mentioned, if you play around with keystones too much, you'll get some of those softer edges, which is common with some of these budget LCD projectors. That being said, I wholeheartedly recommend you guys to go ahead and pick this up if you're interested, and I'll leave a link in the description below where you guys can go ahead and grab one off of Amazon. If it's out of stock, just keep an eye on for it, because I know it's been selling pretty popular, and I think it is currently out of stock, but anyways, just make sure you guys keep an eye out for it, and then you'll be able to grab it. So if you guys have any questions about this, let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you very much for watching my video, and if you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and you know, you'll stay tuned to all the new information and new videos that I'm dropping on the channel. As always, guys, it's great to make videos. It's great to see you guys again, and hopefully I will see you all on my next one. Peace out.